Do you feel like you're doing all the right things for weight loss, but you're not losing weight? Listen, there is one self-sabotaging habit and behavior that's making you gain weight. And I can't wait to share it with you in this video. I'm your confidence coach, Trish Blackwell. I'm excited to be coaching you today. Make sure you hit subscribe and hit that notifications button. Let's dive in and talk about that habit. What is it, right? It's one thing. It's one thing and it's so simple. Be sure to hang for the whole video. I've got 5 things that you can do to counteract that one thing from happening. We're tackling this behavior straight on today because I want you to see the results you deserve. Okay, so what is the one self-sabotaging behavior that's making you gain weight? Y'all, it's over-restricting. It's being too strict. And you go, well, I thought I was supposed to be strict to lose weight. Yes, but to a point, because when we go into restriction mode, we go into deprivation, we start creating this morality to food. And sometimes we go so extreme that it causes us to only want to do more. So the psychology behind what happens is if I restrict, then I'll be good, right? We moralize our behavior around food and we don't need to, but we restrict, and then we do so good until we're exhausted, until we can't, until our willpower is depleted, and then we get exhausted. And what is it happens? Nighttime binging, emotional eating, stress eating. You fall off the wagon, you say, wow, that's okay, whatever, I'll start tomorrow. And what can happen in those binges is up to 3,000 calories at one time. 1,000 to 3,000 calories all come in your body at one time, and it negates any of the hard work you have already done. So when we restrict and we're so extreme, without understanding the psychology of our needs, how to replenish ourselves, how to establish a relationship with food, and how to know when is a little, when's a lot, look, it leads to like a spiral. It leads to yo-yo dieting. I have been there, and I have worked as a personal trainer for years with people stuck in that cycle. So let's talk about how the heck to get out of it. Okay, so how do we get out of that cycle of this sabotaging of just over restriction while still being strict enough to get results? I still want you to get the results you're working for. So first and foremost, tip number 1 of the 5 I'm going to give you in today's video is to make sure you're eating consistently throughout the day. Now, I know intermittent fasting is trending. I know that it works for some people. I don't recommend it, but here's what I also know is that consistency and fueling the fire consistently keeps that flame burning. And if you think about your metabolism like a little furnace, the more you put a log on the fire, the more continuously it will burn. So eating consistently throughout the day not only prevents that deprivation from happening, that psychological deprivation and over restriction, but it also revs your metabolism. And let's be honest, if you have yo-yo dieted at all in your life, you have messed your metabolism up. So anything that we can do right now to improve our metabolism is a win. But really, eating consistently small meals throughout the day with intention is so critical to helping you avoid the sugar lows, the stress highs, and all the things that make us spiral into accidentally overeating or mindless eating. So that restriction, if you think restricting a meal, skipping a meal, doing that stuff is helpful, it's not. It's making you gain weight. Okay, the second tip that I've got for you is we've got to stop moralizing food. Hey, food's not good or bad. Is fast food not as healthy for me as, a kale salad? Right. So there's food that reacts well in my body and serves me and gives me strength and nutrients and power. And there's food that isn't as healthy. But when we go to a place of this is good, this is bad, we moralize it, well, then when you have some chips and salsa and you think, gosh, I'm being bad because you're on a restricting mentality, remember? So if you're like, well, I'm not supposed to eat this, I'm being bad, therefore I am bad. And that sends this cascade of other decisions about food that are compounded, and they end up making you gain weight. So, hey, food is neutral. Your relationship with food is either good or bad. And there's an interaction. And if you can look at it that way, you'll free yourself from some of the pendulum swinging that happens with yo-yo dieting and hyper restriction. I want this to give you hope and freedom to realize that you don't have to change that much. You don't need more self-discipline or more willpower to lose the weight you want. It's a matter of what's going on up here, which is why I love helping you train your thoughts. Okay, so the other thing I've got beef with this over-restricting is that it causes shame and guilt. As somebody with 10 years of expertise in the fitness industry, I've seen it time and time again. The more strict you are, whether you are adhering to skipping meals or you're tracking your macros and you're so intentionally overcommitted to that, in a good way, hey, you're motivated. That's gonna get you results. But the shame and guilt that comes from any deviation of that causes a spiral of stress, which increases our cortisol levels. I don't know if you realize this, but your cortisol levels make you hold on to belly fat. So anytime you're stressed, that belly fat ain't going anywhere. So if we can do anything to reduce our stress, we should be doing that. And so the reaction to not be able to extend ourselves grace, to be able to say, I'm going to eat this way 80 to 90% of the time, but I'm going to allow a margin for life, for sugar in my coffee, for something I enjoy that isn't necessarily part of my nutrition plan, but I can eat it in moderation and allow myself that pleasure. When you allow that margin between your load and your limitation, then you allow yourself to be free from the strains and the burden that we yoke upon ourselves when we are struggling with all or nothing. It's an all or nothing. Restriction is it's all or nothing. This will help you find that middle point. Okay, well, let's get a little bit more practical. How do you restrict effectively so that you get the weight loss and you make those habit changes you want, but not obsess about it and get that stress byproduct? Well, writing it down. I'm a huge believer in writing down, especially if you have a specific weight loss goal, writing down what you eat throughout the day. It's a manner of saying to yourself that my choices matter and that the little things matter. That handful of M&Ms you grabbed, like, well, how many was it, right? Like, not just saying, I'm working really hard, but I'm going to ignore these other areas. Really being meticulous about writing things down. When you manage your food intake in this way, and I don't think we should do this our whole lives, but I'm just saying if you're in a season of intentional weight loss, you can look at that and say, okay, so this is what I've eaten and I can manage it. What is mentionable is manageable, as Mr. Rogers so famously said. So if we can really look at it and be honest and transparent about the good choices and the not as good choices that we've made, but track them and know truly what is the content of calories that we're putting into our body and what is our output, our energy expenditure of exercise and calories burned, then we can have a pretty solid estimate of, are we going to get that weight loss or not? Sometimes I think when we go to the restriction cycle, we dig our head in the sand of going, well, I'm not going to count this drink because it was only 30 calories and this. We start kind of catering to try to stay this course of perfection. And life is not. We can't do it. Life has ups and downs, and perfect is not. I don't believe in perfection. I believe in progression. So write your food down. And the final tip that I have for you, if you want to get serious about stopping this self-sabotaging behavior of over-restriction and the yo-yo, that pendulum that happens, and binge eating that happens as a result, is to pre-decide to be successful. So what I mean by that, one, first and foremost, the mindset of weight loss is a mindset of confidence. I want you to pre-decide that you are going to get to that healthy, ideal body weight that you know you can. You only achieve in life what you pre-decide is possible. Now, the second part of that is if you look at your day, whether it's a weekday or a weekend, you can pre-decide what is it that you're going to eat at any given situation. So if you're somebody like myself who likes an after dinner snack, I pre-decide in the afternoon what that after dinner snack is going to be. Sometimes it's an apple or pear that's cut up, and I like mine cold, so it's put in the fridge ready to go. Sometimes it's a piece of chocolate and a glass of almond milk, and that I've set and I pre-decide and I make it easy so that I don't have to use willpower at night. I just pull it out and go, or sometimes it's a glass of wine and I have that out and it's already pre-decided. Anytime we can remove our willpower or our discipline out of this, especially around decisions we make around food at night, we are setting ourselves up with less stress and more success. You guys, thank you so much for hanging out in today's video. Please hit subscribe. I'd love to hear below which of these tips was most beneficial to you. I'm here to serve and encourage you to train your thoughts so that you can change your life, because everything that changes truly starts with those thoughts. So, hey, I'll see you super soon.